FTV podcast.
We are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Irish Abroad Show. It's myself, Paul Tierney, and this week, Jer has to miss out, unfortunately, due to work commitments. So Paul has stepped in to take his place. No better man. Paul, how are we?
All good. Thanks very much for the invite. And just filling in for Jer, because obviously this is your guys' show. So sometimes when Jer isn't around, or yourself isn't around, myself or Gary will probably just fill in for you. So yeah, looking forward to chatting all things Irish abroad. And obviously it was a good week for the Irish players. So looking forward to chatting about it.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll kick off straight away with the Premier League, obviously the main attraction for a lot of people in this country. And we'll start with one of our main players, Shane Duffy, had a brilliant weekend, got a goal and helped Brighton keep a clean sheet in a 2-0 win against Watford. And that puts them onto 6 points. They're right at the top of the table after 2 games. Paul, any thoughts?
Well, I know that his mum and his sister were in attendance and his partner, so they were all together at the game. And I think it was the first game that his mum had been back to in the Amex since COVID and stuff like that, and obviously since his dad passed away. So I think it was a lovely moment to see him get that goal, and you could see him when he celebrated the goal, and he was kind of pointing over to an area and blowing kisses. I imagine that was over to those three, and just happy to see him enjoying his football, because I remember when we did some stuff. It might have been the summer, just before the summer. There was an international, might have been March, and Seamus Coleman did a press conference, and he spoke about Shane Duffy, and he spoke about, at this stage, Shane Duffy should have enough credit in the bank for people to get behind him and, really just show support for the fella, that he is a really top class player. And I think that really kind of shone through. And I just think it's great to see now he's back, he's enjoying his football. I think those who knew him quite well didn't really doubt him. And I think those who were always defending him, even during the Celtic days, always believed that he could get back. I didn't think he would get back at Brighton, but I did believe that he could get back into the Premier League and maybe join a lesser club. But the fact that he's gone back into Brighton, he's almost like a new signing for them. And he got into the Premier League Team of the Week this week, I think for the second week in a row, I think. Well, he was in the SofaScore one last week, but he was definitely in the Premier League Team of the Week this week. So look, it's amazing to see the turnaround. It shows what a bit of confidence and a bit of love can do. And to have some of those home comforts that he might not have had in Scotland back, and he has them back at Brighton now. And I think I think not only is Shane Duffy a great player, but he's also great to have around your dressing room and so on. I know the likes of Jason Malumbi and Aaron Connolly have spoken so highly about how he looks after those lads, and I'm sure now the other lads coming through, I'm sure we'll talk about, I'm sure that they would say the same about him. And even Neil Maupay was out doing some stuff there the other day, media, saying how much Shane Duffy, it's great to have him back, and he's the joker amongst the group and stuff like that. So look, it's great to see. It's still early days, but the first 2 games has been brilliant. He's up against Everton on Saturday now, which is his old club, and that'll be interesting to see how he gets on there, because that's the game we really need him to. Well, not me being an Everton fan, but I think that as Irish fans, I think that's the game we need him to perform in, because he'll need to take that form then obviously into the international break, and hopefully he'd be wrapped up in cotton wool then after that.
Yeah, definitely. It was great for myself as well to see him, because he's been such a huge part of Ireland's success with the little of it in the last while. He's been fantastic, and coming into 3 very important games now as well. It's a huge goal for him and huge for Ireland as well, and he'll definitely be involved 100%.
What are your thoughts on Duffy's kind of turnaround?
Well, I think it's great. I think Ben Whiteley even gave him a massive opportunity to come back in anyway. And in all honesty, just from what I've seen of Ben White and even his first game at Arsenal, obviously he's out with COVID at the minute. Brighton look stronger with Duffy in there than they did with White. And that's only after 2 games. I know they've only played Burnley and Watford, but they're teams that are going to be in and around them. And they're the games you want to be winning. And look, Shane Duffy is a very, very good footballer. He proved it before for Brighton and he's proved it at other clubs as well. So it's no surprise for me that he's come back in and started so well. And I'm actually delighted for him as well because it's brilliant for Ireland too. And that's what we need. We need players playing at the top level and playing well at the top level. And look, I'm delighted anyway. I've always been a huge fan of Shane Duffy anyway. So, yeah.
I think just on Duffy, because, with Brighton over the years, they've been a bit of a soft touch. And last season they played great football and stuff like that, but lacked goals. And now they're just being that little bit more solid, and they're getting goals from, say, set pieces and stuff like that through Duffy. So look, long may it last.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Just one thing to note as well. Aaron Connolly did come on in that game as well. Neil Maupay did get an injury. I'm not sure how serious it is, but that could mean more game time for Aaron Connolly, and that's what we want as well, because he always seems to get a bit of a run, but never really, gets that like 100% 10 games in a row, something like that. Gets a couple of goals in a row. It's always kind of ended by he got COVID, I think, in one of the last international breaks, stuff like that as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Even though I'm not wishing injury upon Maupay, I think it's fantastic that Aaron will get an opportunity there as well. And look, Brighton are in good form. Hopefully it keeps going for the Irish lads anyway. That's what we want. I'll just go brief.
We're just with Aaron. He missed a bad chance. In fairness, he missed a sitter. He should have scored it, but it was one of those where you just had to take it snapshot, boom. First, he kind of did it without looking, and it flashed wide, unfortunately. But if he can't be doing too many of them. He addressed it after the game and said, "Look, I should be missing chances like that, and I'm going to do everything I can to put it right." So that's the kind of attitude you want to hear from him, and he's got his kind of old Barnett back, that old slick back Barnett look. So he's looking the part at the minute. So hopefully he can get back to that form that he showed against Spurs when he did have that Barnett originally. So look, I think with Aaron, he is going to have inconsistencies, but it is this season. I think it is time to shine and try and stay injury free and get that run of games, as you said, that he hasn't had yet. Because how can you establish yourself as a top level player if you can only play 3 games in a row and then you're out for maybe another 3 and then you're back in, and it's just very stop-start. And in terms of his development, he does need to be playing a run of games consistently. I know his game's heavily based on pace, so his hamstrings and stuff like that might be a problem in the future, but right now they shouldn't be, and I think I'd just love to see him get a run of games. I really would, and I'd really like to see him get a goal or 2 and just carry that form into the international break, because whatever it seems, we always just seem to be cursed with luck when it comes to any sort of attackers around international time, and I'm sure we'll talk about Callum Robinson at some stage as well. And so yeah, I think, look, even Connolly, if he can get in again this week and he can do okay against Everton, I think he'll be nailed on to start for Ireland if he can stay obviously fit as well. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about him.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll go through the rest of the Premier League now as well. Just briefly, there's actually not much else. Seamus Coleman did play full 90 minutes against Leeds. He got a yellow card in a 2-2 draw. You would have probably seen that yourself. Obviously,
I only got the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be a bit of a decent game anyway. It's 2 sides who go at each other all the time, so look, not surprised with that. But good to see him play another full 90.
Yeah, I think we'll need him big time. After I remember he got injured against Brighton last season around this time when we bet them. I think it was 4-5-1, and James stole the show that day. But Coleman got injured, so I'd just be hoping that he doesn't get injured this week. And I think the role in which Rafa Benitez is kind of giving him, it allows him not to be as, say, offensive. Like against Leeds, he didn't really cross the halfway line. It was more the midfielders were encouraged to get up forward. So I think that'll be better for Ireland, because I think that's kind of similar to how we play. Like if Seamus is to play right back or right centre back, I think that would be more of a natural fit then, and I think he's kind of playing like that with Everton at the minute. So with Seamus, I'm not worried about him in any way, shape or form. I know that if he comes in there, he'll do a really good job. Portugal's going to be hard no matter what way we look at it, but I'd rather have Seamus Coleman in there, especially defensively, than maybe even Matt Doherty, who's not even playing at the minute, but is much better offensively.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned Matt Doherty not playing. He was an unused sub for Spurs on the weekend against Wolves. Several other players were unused subs. Conor Hourihane, Kieran Clark, and Jeff Hendrick for both Aston Villa and Newcastle, unused subs again, and Shane Long as well in the Premier League. Would you say that's a bit of a worry that these lads aren't playing in these games, or is it just, maybe it's just rotation?
Um, it is a worry. I think Hendrick, I think Clark, I think Hourihane. Hourihane is kind of special, and I know he played last night. You'll probably touch on that later on as well. But I just think with Hourihane, it seems to be like he's obviously loved by Villa and Villa fans and loved by the club, but it seems to me like they don't rate him enough to be playing him because he's not even getting in squads, is he? Was he in that squad?
He was in that squad, but he wasn't in the squad the first week, no.
Yeah. So like, and he hasn't been injured or anything like that of my knowledge. So I don't know. Like I like Hourihane, but I think maybe at this stage of his career, I think he's probably better off with a championship club like he was with Swansea. I mean, he lit it up in the championship last season in that kind of number 10 position. Could he go to someone even in the lower end of the Premier League where he could be that type of player for them? Because at Villa, he's just not first choice. Villa have a very good squad, in fairness as well. I think people kind of underrate their squad a bit, but
Yeah.
you know, it's tough for him. But see Hendrick, like if he can't get into the Newcastle team, that's a big worry for him more than maybe even us. Like I don't really see him starting. Maybe the Azerbaijan game, but I don't see him starting in any of the other games. There's other players there, Jason Malumbi, who can't get a run in at Brighton at all. He's been playing with the 23s. He's looking to get out as well. So there's a lot of worry around players, especially in our midfield at the minute, that they're just not playing football and they're not sharp in any way, shape or form. And it is a big worry going into these games because, you're coming against Portugal, who are absolutely world class. The Euros winners 5 years ago. Albeit Ronaldo's not playing, but you've Fernandes, who the week before got a hat trick and stuff like that, who's an absolutely world class player. So if you don't have midfielders that are matching up to these, I know Josh Cullen's playing and stuff like that, but in the Premier League there's not too many of our players playing, and a lot of our best players are in the Championship and in other leagues like that. And yeah, it is a bit of a worry, but I think this is kind of just a little bit of a cycle that we're going to be in for the next while. I think we're going to have players who are going to be maybe Championship and maybe coming up with teams, a bit like kind of Sheffield United did last season, and do well and stuff like that. But I just feel as though we have a lot of really good, talented young players coming through at the minute. But I think they're going to need at least 3 seasons before we start seeing the real fruits of them coming through. So at the moment, that's a real worry that a lot of our best players are kind of EFL players, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it is a bit of a worry. Speaking on the EFL, we'll move on to the Championship now because that's it from the Premier League. We'll
Apologies
start
for the
off with
doorbell there,
Scott
live
Hogan.
TV.
He got no problem. Scott Hogan, yeah, he got 2 goals for Birmingham City in a 5-0 win against Luton. Good to see Scott scoring, and he probably will be involved now due to the probable omission of Callum Robinson for at least 2 of the games. Anyway, speaking of Callum Robinson, he played his part in West Brom's 2-1 win over Blackburn on the weekend. Darragh O'Shea and Darragh Lenihan also played. We'll stick with Callum Robinson now for the minute. Very unfortunate, another COVID hit case again.
Yeah, he was starting to really strike really good form, wasn't he? And yeah, it's unfortunate. It seems to be every time international break comes around, something happens to him. And as I say, he was looking like he was really enjoying his football. He seems to have found a home there at West Brom, whereas at other clubs he kind of tended to struggle. I know he's good at Preston and stuff like that. He left Aston Villa, didn't really seem to make the grade of Villa. Sheffield United, he was in, he was out, and he hardly got a kick. Again, it makes me worry that although he loves scoring against Chelsea, he never really done it in the Premier League, and when he goes down to the Championship, then he looks like it's almost too easy for him. But like, I don't really mind. Look, as long as the striker's in form and scoring goals, I don't mind. But obviously, he's not going to be. He would have been our most informed striker, probably other than Troy Parrott at the moment, coming into the international break, albeit just before you said Scott Hogan. I don't know if Scott Hogan. I don't think he's been called up under Stephen Kenny yet, so I don't know if he's in his plans. I know it looks Scott. Even the determination he scored that second goal or showed to score. Sorry, was brilliant. Just to he ran from the edge of his own box to get on the end of the other ball to put it in the net for them for Birmingham. So, I just think Scott Hogan, it would be, if he does get called up, I think he'd be a sub. I don't think he'd actually be much use to Ireland. He's a bit too static for me in terms of the way he plays when he plays for Ireland. If he was to be the player that showed that determination to get on the end of that ball for Birmingham, then yes. So look, it will be interesting. Obviously, the squad's going to be out in about an hour or so, and we at the press conference and stuff like that. We'll be interested to see who comes in place of Robinson. But I do think, Robinson is a big miss, because not only he can play up the middle, he can play across all front of the three positions up the top in a 4-3-3 if we play that, or in a 2 if he plays 3-5-2. So that's what I think what you're missing as well. And Robinson's going to get into that mature age now. He's a dad and stuff like that. I think he'd be a bit of a leader within the squad as well, where he has that little bit of experience, because he's been playing for the international team for since about 2018. So he's been there about 3 years now. So he's not like it's not like he's just newly coming into the team and stuff like that,
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, he was in good form. It's unfortunate for him because he definitely would have played. A couple more players in the championship anyway. Mark Travers got the full 90 minutes again for Bournemouth, which is great to see. And Gavin Kilkenny played 72 minutes in a 2-2 draw against Blackpool. Richard Keogh was on the bench for them as well, just a brief mention to him. Gavin Kilkenny getting loads of time for Bournemouth, which is great to see too. Jimmy Dunn got his QPR, I think it was his QPR debut, or maybe he came on one of the other games. He helped them get back into the game against Barnsley. He finished 2-2 on Saturday morning.
I think it was the second game.
Second game, sorry, my bad.
I think so,
yeah. It looked good that he got in anyway, because he helped change the game as well, clearly, because they were 2-0 down, and I actually flicked it on for a bit on Saturday, and they were making subs like well before half time as well. So look, good that he came on and helped them get a result, because QPR have started quite well and finished last season quite well too. So hopefully he gets a bit more time as well. Ryan Manning, Ryan Manning played the full 90 for Swansea again. They won 1-0 at Bristol City. I think it was their first win of the season. Ryan Manning, he was actually rated very highly by a lot of the media for his performance on Friday, because it was on Sky as well. So a lot more people would have seen it.
He played centre back in that game in the back three. He was in the middle of the back three.
Yeah, played
Sorry,
centre back.
were you going to say that?
I wasn't.
Okay, I thought you were. Sorry, so I felt bad.
No problem. Just a couple more from the Championship. David McGoldrick got an assist for Billy Sharp and Sheffield United's 2-1 defeat to Huddersfield at home. Sean Maguire is coming back from injury. He played 79 minutes in a 1-0 win against Peterborough for Preston. And that's all I've got for the Championship there. Do you have anything to add?
No, like players like Sean Maguire and stuff like that, I think his chances came and gone. I'd be very, very surprised if he comes back into the Preston team, and unless he can help Preston get promoted, I really don't see his international career really kicking off. I think he had that moment where around 2017 everybody thought he was going to be the man to come in and maybe replace Shane Long, but we're too dependent on these types of players. And then you look at players like, say, Aaron Connolly, who's come in, hit the ground running at Premier League level, and shows he's capable at Premier League level. I think the likes of Maguire are always going to be kind of in the shadows of them. I think Troy will be ahead of him in the pecking order. I think Adam Ida will be ahead of him in the pecking order. So there's already three younger lads already ahead of him in the pecking order. And then over the next number of years, you're going to have your likes of your Evan Fergusons and other players like that that'll be coming through. So yeah, I just it's unfortunate, because I think he comes across as a lovely guy and stuff like that, and I would love to see him get that opportunity, but I think he got the opportunity and he never really took it. He gets injured a lot as well. I think he's got kind of his hamstrings and stuff like that, because again, a lot of his game is based on pace and stuff like that. But I think the Preston fans really quite like him. Just another one we kind of missed is that obviously Alan Brown is isolating at the moment, so I think he's going to miss the games as well for Ireland too.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Brown would definitely have been involved and probably would have played a bit as well. Yeah, I think we'll finish up on the Championship there and move on to League One. Always a lot of Irish involvement in that division anyway. Started off, Owen Doyle got another goal for Bolton, 2-1 win against Oxford. Luke McNally and Mark Sykes also played in that game. The main man, Wes Houlihan, got another assist, played the full 90 again, 3-0 win against Burton Albion, and you're wearing the shirt and all. As we say in most weeks in this show, that man doesn't age. He's top class. James McLean scored on his second Wigan debut in a 2-0 win over Charlton. That was good to see as well. And he's been in the news a lot, obviously, with the thing with Ian Evatt during the week as well, which is good to see, you know. Give them socks. I have a couple of... Sorry, I have to change the page. Troy Parrott and Warren O'Hara played in the 2-2 draw for MK Dons against Ipswich on Saturday as well. Aidan McGeady got 72 minutes in a 1-0 win over Wimbledon for Sunderland. And finally, Daryl Horgan got 84 minutes in Wickham's 1-0 win over Lincoln, which Anthony Scully also played in too. Did I miss anything there, Paul, or in League One?
Not that I know of. Because usually, it's, as you say, it's usually yourself and Jared to be doing it. So I wasn't really keeping up to date. Yeah, just on James McLean, obviously it was very funny to see what he did in the EFL Cup. That picture of him talking to Ian Evatt after Ian Evatt had come out after, I think it was a game during the week, and he was saying that, we never really wanted James McLean. His agent was just using us to get a better deal out of Wigan, blah, blah, blah. And he just made a big fiasco over nothing. He probably picked the wrong week to be doing it as well, considering they were going to be coming up against him, and I think they're rivals. But look, McLean got the last laugh and he got his first goal for Wigan. He seems to be enjoying his football there. He just seems to be happy. And I also saw a thing about Wigan as well, is that they sent out basically, it was an email to all the other clubs in League One just about to let them know about any abuse, racist abuse towards James McLean. There'll be sanctions and stuff like that. So I thought that was a brilliant touch by Wigan, and I think he's really found a home there. And while I don't really like hearing all our players playing in League One and the Championship, I think he is good to have around the squad. He embodies everything that we want from an Irish player: his heart, desire, commitment. So much so that his commitment, he ended up ruining his Stoke career because, or Stoke legacy, if you rather, by playing for Ireland, and then that ended up in tears really. So he's back at Wigan now, and look, I think it shows Wigan really like him, and he really likes Wigan, because when Wigan were struggling financially, he put a lot of money into the club to help them survive. So I think that's another reason why Wigan have kind of acted strongly towards helping him out. And Anthony Scully, he was, I think he scored 2 last night, was it, against Manchester United's under-21s, or was it the night before? So he's doing well. I think a lot of people are calling for him to be called up. I think they're looking at options. He scored, was it the week before? I think he scored 2 in League One. Yeah. He scored a lovely goal, top bins. He made a lovely run, and then he finished the top corner. It was a beautiful goal. So he's flying full of goals. Why not just have him in there? Because we don't have a lot of options in that regard in terms of. I'd rather him than Horgan, but I think Horgan does well for Ireland. So yeah. It's a tough one. Look, I'm sure Stephen will be analysing all that, and Keith Andrews and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's it really. I don't really have anything to add on the rest of the League One players. Great to see Wes getting an assist, and as you said, he just doesn't age, and that's 2 assists in 2 games now.
Yeah, top stuff. I'll move on to Europe now. I do have a little bit about League Two, but I'll go on to Europe. Zach Elbazetti got his first AIK goal against Ragsved in the Swedish Cup there the other day, and he also played the full 90.
Great.
Thanks. And he also played the full 90 in the 2-1 win over Hacken in the league, so that keeps them well up at the top of that division. I was looking at it a couple of times. Like, there's about 4 or 5 teams going for the top in that league as well. So it's interesting. And look, Zach's playing week in, week out now, which is good to see. I
think he got an assist from the corner as well. There was a goal that was scored and he whipped in the corner, so he claimed an assist on that too. For the game, the most recent one.
Oh, the League one, yeah. That's again, constantly involved and constantly doing well. That's what you want to see.
I think he should be called up. I really think Zach should be called up, because you have what winger was out? Someone's missing. Ogbene is missing. So I think you get a like for like there with Zach, and he's probably a bit more direct and a bit more cool in front of goal. So I think if you get Zach in there instead of Ogbene today, then I think you're getting a lot more. And Stephen would know him as well, obviously from his days at the 21s. He really rated Zach, and I think he had him as his captain and stuff like that as well. So I'm just keeping an eye on the phone here because I think the squad could be announced any second as well. So if it does, we can go through it. But yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
grand. Yep. Just another in Europe. Josh Cullen, he played the full 90 in a 3-all draw against Vitesse Arnhem last week in the Conference League qualifiers. Obviously, Vitesse played Dundalk, and Dundalk done very well against them in both games. His match on the weekend was called off. I'm not sure why. They're meant to play Ghent at home, but it was postponed on Sunday, so I'm not sure what happened there. But look, he'll be playing again tonight against Vitesse Arnhem in the second leg of that. And hopefully for him as well, getting to play in Europe be a great experience if they did qualify, and it'd be great for Ireland as well because he'll definitely be involved in the squads. Um, I'll,
Yeah.
I'll go on to the League Cup now as well because not much happened in League Two in Scotland. Only a couple of players played, so I'll kind of gloss over that. In the League Cup anyway, we'll start off with the two young lads for Brighton making their first appearance. Andrew Moran and Evan Ferguson was great to see, and they won 2-0 as well against Cardiff and helped the team do that.
Yeah, fantastic for the two of them, and they seem to be really highly rated at Brighton, and I've seen some of the other lads, like even Aaron Connolly was commenting fire emojis on the post we put up yesterday. So it seems as though, look, they're making waves there. I still think they're a couple of years after development, but the way that Connolly and Malumbi made their way through was through that competition as well. And then they took a couple of years to come on after that. So look, I think the likelihood is they may get called up into the under-21 squad, and then they continue their development that way. But it's great to see them, and hopefully they could get a couple more games under their belt. And as they say, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and it's certainly bodes well for the future to see two Irish players, coming through at a Premier League club and getting game opportunity. I think we have a lot of good players coming through at the moment. It's just they're a couple of years off where we would like them to be, just because at the moment we're kind of at a stopgap in terms of we've got really good young players and we've had maybe experienced players that haven't really done it. And there's kind of, you're bringing the younger players in to mix them in those experienced players who haven't really done it. So we're kind of there right now, whereas we obviously need the younger players then to kind of come in and stuff like that. But we've good players all over like we've good players coming through all over the place in terms of, like, in goal we've got Kelleher, we've got Bazunu. In defence we've got Omar Bamadelli, Darragh O'Shea, Nathan Collins. Full back you've got Dan McNamara. Left back you've got Liam Scales. Wing backs as well. In midfield you've got Malumbi, who's obviously still very young, going to come through there as well. Then up front you've got Evan Ferguson to go with Troy Parrott, to go with Adam Ida, to go with Aaron Connolly. So we have got good players coming through all over. I'm not sure where exactly Andrew Moran plays. I think he's kind of like an attacking midfielder. So he's coming through as well. And Jason Nice. There's so many good players coming through at the moment. So it's bodes well, but we need them to continue to develop and obviously get game time. So it will be interesting even to see will the lads go out on loan, maybe play for a club that are trying to survive, and where it's they're out in men's proper football, senior football, say in a League 1 or League 2 club. Like Darragh O'Shea had to go out, I think he went to Exeter or someone like that, and he had to kind of make his way, and then he came back in the following season and got his breakthrough, and now look at him, he's an international and he's an established member of the West Brom squad within 2 years of that. So yeah, I think they should all take encouragement from the likes of, say, Darragh O'Shea or Aaron Connolly or Jason Malumbi, because these lads are very talented, clearly. I mean, Evan Ferguson made his debut against Chelsea at the age of 14. Mm-hmm. Like, can you imagine you're coming up against Zuma and all the rest of them, Kante, all these players who I think Kante, he won the World Cup at that stage and everything. So it must have, and I think he got an assist, or he played some part in the goal that Bo scored that night as well. And he makes his debut at 16. Then Mad, mad, mad. But he looks like a grown man. He's 16 years of age and he looks like a grown man. And he seems to have a good head on his shoulder as well. Another player I forgot to mention that midfield was obviously Gavin Kilkenny. So we've got good players coming through all over the pitch, which is exciting. But the only problem is we don't have like a Seamus Coleman prime player or Matt Doherty prime player in there to kind of help them get to that next stage as well in terms of internationally. They're going to have to kind of learn on their own 2 feet as they go on. But maybe that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. And look, hopefully they get another opportunity anyway. If they don't go on loan, Brighton are in the next round. They're playing Swansea as well. That's probably will be their next opportunity. You mentioned Bamadile and Gavin Kilkenny. They both played in Norwich's 6-0 win on Tuesday evening against Bournemouth. Again, Kilkenny playing again after playing on the weekend. Good to see. Probably not the result he wanted. And Bamadile, look, it's a clean sheet and he's involved, and that's the main thing.
I think he was injured before that because I had him in my fantasy team and he was coming up in that, the yellow the yellow information tab. So it seemed as though he was injured. So maybe that's the reason why he hasn't been involved. And Norwich seem to be handing out debuts to a lot of youngsters in the Premier League. They don't seem to have any fear. So I would say it's only a matter of time before he makes his Premier League debut.
Yeah, maybe even this weekend against Leicester City. You never know. Aidan O'Brien did get a hat-trick against Blackpool in a 3-2 win. That was obviously a League One side beating a Championship side. Bit of a shock there. And I think he scored in the previous round as well. Not a hat-trick, but definitely got a goal. So look, maybe he's only getting drips and drabs in the league, but he's scoring in the League Cup, and that's the main thing. Couple of other mentions. Nathan Collins. Well. Yeah, exactly. Nathan Collins did play for Burnley last night against Newcastle. They won on penalties. Jeff Hendrick was involved for Newcastle also. He actually missed a big chance to put them ahead. But look, that's cup football. Anything can happen. And one brief mention I have is Zach Delaney. He was on the bench for West Brom against Arsenal. He didn't come on, but look, probably didn't want to come on in the end the way Arsenal performed last night. But yeah, look, that's it. It's good to see lads getting time and involved in a major competition as well.
Well, I wouldn't call it a major competition. It is a competition where a lot of teams play their kind of second string and give players an opportunity. I think it's a good opportunity at those lower stages at the start of the season to give players a run to see can they cope at the very top level or the senior level of football. And yeah, like you look at your Evan Fergusons and so on. Come in and he just looks to me like he's ready to go. He looks like he's a monster. And when I just see because I think his social media handle is Evan Ferguson 9 or something like that. So when I just see Ferguson 9, I just picture Duncan Ferguson. So I'm just thinking a big dunk every time I see the Ferguson 9. So it's great to see our younger players getting an opportunity and stuff like that. But I think the lower levels of the EFL Cup is, I wouldn't say it's Premier League 2 level, but I wouldn't say it's far off it. You're kind of mixing in with what it is there till you kind of get to the later stages of it, and then kind of teams take it serious because it's an opportunity to play European football and it's a little bit of cash inflow and stuff like that. They kind of the Evertons and Spurs and those types of teams, and also Man City for some reason always seem to want to win it every single season.
But I think Pep has said about it as well. It's a good stepping stone. Like, you think of the finals in early March, late February. Like, if you win a cup then, you'll be buzzing for the running. And he's actually right in a way, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe that's why he does. I didn't hear him saying that, but because, like, imagine someone like a Brighton or something won it, and it'll be amazing, and they're in Europe and so on. But I think Graham Potter is very good at bringing through young players, and we've seen that with the likes of Lamptey and these other players as well have come through under him. So he doesn't seem to be afraid to bring in these young players and give them a go. So I actually really like Graham Potter as a coach, and I think he seems to have a lot of time for the Irish lads. I know he didn't really have a lot of time for Shane Duffy initially, but he seems to have a lot of time for him now. I think maybe Shane Duffy's changed his opinion of him. Also, did you see Shane Duffy's stats? I think he had like a 90% pass rate or whatever, and he had a serious amount of passes and stuff like that to go with obviously his goal. So I think that myth that Shane Duffy can only play hoofball was absolutely evaporated the other day, and long may it continue. The Brighton boys are back. Yeah, hopefully not this Saturday though.
look, that's all I have anyway. I can scan through League Two in Scotland, but there's not much to mention
Yeah.
really. Yeah, look,
I suppose just
we've
Paul. Is there anyone? Is there anyone? I did a video last night on kind of 3 players who I thought could or should be in contention. Is there anyone that you would, if you were picking the team or the squad? Is there anyone that maybe we hadn't spoken about or something like that? Or is there anyone you would love to see? Oh, he's gone. I don't know. Paul's connection must have went there, so I think we'll just leave it at that. The joys of live TV. We'll give it maybe a sec. But Paul has literally just, I don't know what he's done. I think he was on his phone. Maybe his battery died. But I was going to ask Paul if there was any players that he was excited to see coming into the squad. That's probably going to be picked in around an hour's time. But I did a video on 3 players that I would like to see make their way or be in contention. So make sure you head over and check it out, because that's all I was going to ask Paul there. And he seems to have gone. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll bring you the press conference later on today. Thanks for watching. Take